Hello, everybody. So today I'm going to be talking about the world of the metaverse and specifically how I've experienced it, mainly through the application of VR chat. I will talk a little bit about the official metaverse that people are coming to be aware of in 2022, something that Facebook has changed its name to the word Meta, and their applications have been more focused on the metaverse, but I'm going to be mainly focusing on VR chat, which is, I think, the same thing in concept. So, what is the metaverse? The metaverse is kind of a broad concept that's going to be continue to be defined, but it ultimately means our lives taking place more on a virtual reality, where you can go into this virtual space, walk around, look at different things, talk to people, interact with people, make friends. And Facebook, in 2021 had announced that it's changing its name to Meta from Facebook because it's going to be increasingly focused on that. And they actually own the Oculus VR headset technology. They're heavily invested in it. They've been, I think, since 2012, 2013 have bought into that technology. Now it's something that they're going to increase their focus on. And I've mainly experienced the metaverse with an Oculus VR headset. Some people can experience it with a computer as well, but that's been my primary experience is with the Oculus VR headset. And I've been using a application called VR Chat, which is essentially that you go into a virtual space and you're walking around it with a given avatar and talking to people and interacting with them, and it feels pretty close to the real thing. When I'm close to them, their voices get closer. When they're far away, it sounds farther, and the Oculus is mapping out my hand movements and my gestures and things like that. And so that's been my main sort of exploration of that. And when I've gone onto the Facebook metaverse like Horizons, it seems pretty much the same thing. They're just sort of more officiating things like VR chat, what they've been doing for a long time, and just actually really sort of polishing it and ideally, I guess, commercializing off those ideas, right? So VR chat, you can, like I said, get it on the Oculus like I've been using. You can also download it from your PC from Steam. It's a free app. There is paid upgrades like being able to customize your avatar a little bit more, like put your picture up and things like that. But for the most part, I've been using all of the free version of the application, and it's it suffices pretty well. The only thing I probably have been incentive to maybe get the paid upgrade is to put things like my personal picture there, because I am making friends there, and has become my network. So what's cool about VR chat is it's actually doesn't take itself too seriously, right? You can take different avatars. So sometimes you'll see people walk around in a Michael Jackson outfit. I'm often dressed up as The Rock or Mickey Mouse with a gun, and it just quite funny. A lot of times when I just walk up to people will start laughing because of my respective avatar that I've chosen. But it does feel like a real life interaction, right? Just joking around with people, interacting with people, and particularly has been useful during this sickness that I don't want to say the word that's been happening over the last couple of years, where social interactions have been limited. Now, my main focus for joining VR chat and exploring the metaverse was mainly because of language exchange. When this sickness had come about, the ability to practice different languages, which I study, had severely limited. So specifically, I'm learning the Korean language, and it's been very difficult to do that and not be able to meet native speakers and have them correct me and things like that. So this has been the next best thing. So I actually log onto a server in Korea and speaking to people that are from Korea, and talking to them in Korean, and them helping me with my language studies and supplementing that. And again, it's been the next best thing to real life. Now, the sort of idea of the metaverse really taking over more of our life as time goes on, I could see that it definitely being a reality. And there is some great things about that, and there's some danger of that. I mean, the great thing is, like all things with technology, there is a level of efficiency. So with this given efficiency, for instance, with language exchanges and being able to practice different languages, it's almost far superior to in-person language exchanges that I'd go, because at any given time I just put on my headset, beam over there, and then even switch from, say, Spanish to Japanese to Korean, all within a given couple hours, right? And so yeah, the convenience of that has been fantastic. And also, particularly with language exchanges, it's actually kind of helpful that people don't see my face, because when I screw up, they don't see me as embarrassed as I would if it was in person, from saying the wrong thing, and so it makes it a little bit more lighthearted. And definitely, during these 2 years where there's been limited social interaction based on sort of the global events, it has felt like my social life there of going there, seeing common friends, is like going to a common bar where everyone knows your name, and then people seeing me about and catching up and things like that, right? And so I've had also some very engaging discussions with people, and also just being able to do other things also in the metaverse. You can actually go to karaoke rooms, you can watch a movie together, go sort of a virtual couch, play virtual games together and stuff like that. So it has been fantastic for that. So and the good part is always with efficiency with technology. That's what ultimately technology does. It makes us more efficient. Now there is some dangers to it, like anything else with technology. Like, for instance, the rise of use of social media. We've seen over the last couple of years where it can be sometimes a bit of a toxic, a toxic pitfall where people just sort of put their dirty laundry or find reasons to be rude, and without any sort of consequences to that. And for sure, the metaverse does offer that as well. Sometimes going there, and sometimes just people using not the best language in terms of at least the English language that I know. Some of them are young, so it's understandable. They're using it as an outlet, or sometimes people being rude as well, right? And realizing that there's not some face-to-face consequences that would otherwise be received with that. When I go into Korean servers, for the most part, people are relatively polite there. It's part of the culture and language to be extremely polite, and they also have a different definition of what polite is in terms of speaking more informally before you go about and speak in a more familiar sort of tone, which we do in the Western language as well. But of course, there's still been experiences there too, where sometimes people maybe have a bad day and want to take it out on you and be rude. It does happen, right? But the dangers of all these things is not technology itself. It just comes down to how self-controlled you are, right? So for instance, like social media, I believe social media is a fantastic tool. It's definitely has done a lot for society in terms of allowing people to connect with each other easier, to stay in touch with their friends, also through osmosis, learn about people, what they're doing with their lives. So yeah, it has a great thing, but it can also suck you in. It's meant to suck you in and be addictive, sometimes take over your brain in terms of substituting these likes for actual validation, and people actually really say caring about you and things like that. So those dangers do definitely exist, but it's not the technology itself. It's all about your own inner self-control, and maybe certain companies might be exploiting that weakness, but it ultimately is up to you, right? So so there's a potential to even sort of degrade on certain things. Like, for instance, I know over the years my spelling, for instance, has gone a lot worse with Google and all these word processing apps that correct my spelling and things like that. And so yeah, it definitely technology sometimes can make you worse than instead of better, right? Or even you think about our convenience in transportation these days, which is a technology, whether it be driving cars or jumping into Ubers, public subways, and people not paying attention to, say, physical fitness, which is sort of a basic thing that people do, and or sitting stationary in a chair for 8 hours a day, right? So these are all factors of technology, but again, you have the opportunity still knowing that and still be able to either restrain yourself or supplement these things in different ways. So I'm all for these technologies, but I do think they will be abused. They will go through the learning process of social media, which we're still going through, where people get addicted and sometimes substituted too much for real life and lose their real life skills and spend all their time there. Just like video games, for instance. Like video games is a fantastic fun thing, but you have to moderate, otherwise it can take over your life. I, for the most part, try to moderate it, just play it on, say, weekends. But I don't get sucked into it because there's other priorities. So, there is that sort of potential danger, and some companies, of course, that's not a danger. That's a way for them to monetize, and it's not evil. It's neutral. Ultimately, they're giving you what you want, and it's like, do you decide to eat candy all day? It's up to you. You can do that, but ultimately you're hurting yourself and your own body and spiking your insulin levels and things like that. But certainly when I was a kid, I wanted to eat candy all day. Now I know better not to do that, right? So I do believe the metaverse is definitely part of the future, part of a great new world and interaction. And there's other things that can be done other than recreation. It will be well used for even business uses and things like that. But also, part of this embracing of progress and new things, you always have to not throw out the baby with the bathwater, and also respect the certain fundamentals of society as they might come into the backdrop. For instance, again, social media sometimes made people's real social interaction worse, in terms of having basic respect and politeness and understanding other people's point of views and be able to agree to disagree, which is a foundation of at least Western society, to have diverse viewpoints and to be able to be accepting of those type of things. So, same sort of things will be happening, I think, with also the metaverse. But yeah, I mean, you might have your own individual reasons as to why you want to explore the metaverse. Mine was particularly the language exchange component. It's been fantastic in advancing my skills there, and it's been fun, which is the most important thing. And so I encourage you to check it out, and let me know what you think. Like, what are some of the things that you might be using or curious to use the metaverse about, using it for, right? So I'm actually really curious, and what are your thoughts about some of the potential dangers of this as it becomes increasingly comes to the forefront of our society, right? So let me know your thoughts. I'm interested, and have a great day.